Okay. I'm just thinking, if Russell Brand is going to watch this video, what's he going to think? He's going to see that everything's out of sync. This seems like a really bad start, and I don't think he's going to take me seriously. So, hi, Russell. Thanks for not taking me seriously. I don't blame you. I seem like a right idiot. Okay, so the thing I wanted to talk to you about is the written word, right? Now we've got Socrates railing against the written word, right? And what do? They make him drink hemlock. And you've got the Book of Enoch, right? And it talks about the written word being the great evil. It's like Pandora's box, or Prometheus's fire. It's just a really bad thing, the written word, right? And what do? They ban the Book of Enoch from the Bible. And they leave the Book of Jude in its place, to sort of like, keep the sort of critics and skeptics sort of like, just off balance, Oh, look, we still keep the Book of Jude in there for you, So anyway, I've come to the conclusion that the tree of knowledge is symbolic literacy for a library, right? So the Book of Enoch, it makes it more explicit, more clear. Chapter 68. We're not supposed to have the written word. It's a terrible thing. And of course, computers are an extrapolation. They're an extension of the written word. So when you made this video recently about how we're supposed to, what interesting topics would you like to talk about? That are gonna, that are like conspiracy theories or just really interesting topics. And you made this video with a whole list of them, and I was, I'm really pleased. They sound like a whole load of topics. I can't think of one topic that you mentioned that I wouldn't like to hear about in more detail with you and your like interesting way of looking at things and asking pertinent questions, all the way through the video. They would make a whole load of really interesting videos. But I just want to make it clear. I just want to say, because I missed the video. It was like where people were supposed to leave their comments and tell you what they wanted you to talk about. I didn't get it, so I just had to make this video instead. I've been making videos about the written word, and the fact that people like Socrates and the Book of Enoch mention it as being a really bad thing, but almost nobody ever, well, as far as I can tell, yeah, practically nobody ever speaks about it and ever looks at it in terms of what it actually is and what it does, and is it a good thing? What is the veracity of the written word? Is it like a really useful thing? Is it like wholly good? Are there some bad things? Is it a double-edged sword? Is it actually a really bad thing and there are no benefits? These things, I've never heard them really properly discussed. So I'm very eager to have an interview with you and discuss these things with you and talk to you about what Socrates said, the arguments that he put across, the ideas in the Book of Enoch, and essentially, films like The Matrix are portraying ideas in the Book of Enoch that were written thousands of years ago. And are supposedly about these times where everything becomes like matrixy and there is horror going on in the world that people are like oblivious to. It's happening right under their noses. There's horror, and apocalypse, and going on right under people's noses, right in front of their faces, and they're just oblivious to it. They're not even noticing it's happening. I've trained myself to laugh about all this stuff. You know, I consider it very serious, and I can only laugh about it because I've trained myself to. You know, it's a real it's what I call the work. You know, my channel is about the work, and it's about, well, originally it started off as like trying to, and I hope you might be interested in this, putting the Eastern and Western systems together, the Eastern system of the 7 chakras with the Western system of the 10 spheres of the Tree of Life, because they both basically represent the energy bodies of the human body. And they're also a kind of map of the universe as well, you know, the oneness. So I thought, well, they must have, like, if they're both basically describing the same thing, but in different ways. Let's see what happens if we marry them together, East and West. So I come up with all this interesting like videos, and they're a real long-winded stuff. You don't want to bother watching them, but hopefully I'm going to be doing some more up-to-date videos that are like condensing all my work into something more manageable and much easier for people to watch. You know, on the other hand, I'm not confident about this. I don't like the idea of it all that much. I know it's what people would like, but I think people really ought to do the real work. You know, start from scratch. You know, build up the 4 energies, the 4 ancient, tried and tested elements. You know, the physical body, the emotional body, the mental body, and the spiritual body, and find ways to like get them all working together. You know, so you can access that energy of your subconscious mind, the part of your mind that is able to, in a mother whose child is trapped under the bulk of a burning vehicle, is able to lift it up with one hand and pull her child out to safety. You know, because she's got access to all her full energy of her subconscious and her whole body and her whole being. She can lift up a car with one hand and pull her child out with the other. And there is all these different types of yogas, you know, things like Ashtanga yoga and Kundalini yoga. It's all trying to sort of like help you gain access to this energy. So what I've done with the work is to try to condense it and streamline it and make it more efficient. And I feel like I've done a reasonably good job, although it's not quite what I planned. One of the things that's come up, that's sort of like stuck with me, is that the written word is the big problem in the world. It's the written word. You know, all these people that have been coming up with ideas for your videos, and none of them really get to the heart of the vampire. The heart of the vampire is the written word. Check out the Book of Enoch. Check out Socrates. Think about what Socrates said. You know, he's the grandfather of philosophy, which led to the Enlightenment, which led to the Industrial Revolution, which led to the Computer Revolution, which we're standing on the shoulders of giants, and the real giant is at the bottom of it is Socrates, or on the other side, Enoch. But, you know, I don't hold my hopes up for you taking me seriously here, because I've been making videos about this for about 5 years, and still nobody's really like given me any sort of like conversation about it to speak of. When I've looked into what the academics have said, they're very predictable. They're very left-brained. They reduce it down to this idea that if Plato hadn't written down what Socrates said, we wouldn't know about it. Therefore, okay, I'm labouring the point. I know, but it just seems like a big deal. Like, therefore, the written word is a great idea, because otherwise we wouldn't know about Socrates. So therefore, the argument is finished. Okay, well, I'm not even gonna. There is an obvious like conclusion to draw from this, right? As far as I'm concerned, and I have it. If you can be bothered to, you can go and watch my other videos, and I've mentioned it 2 or 3 times. I'm not going to mention it in this video, because if I had to mention it and you couldn't see it for yourself, I don't really see any point in making a video with you. So, you know, just work it out for yourself. If you can't see the obvious, then it's like, well, I'm wasting my time, aren't I? And yours. Okay, what else is there to say in this video? Okay, just to sort of like try and, you know, one of the things I have difficulties with in making, like, getting popularity is, 1, I'm not very good with computers, right? And 2, I'm too honest, right? But that can work. It can work the other way. The fact that you know that I'm going to be honest, I'm not going to lie to you, right? So I'm pleasantly surprised with your videos, Russell. I mean, you can't remember. You don't know my name, do you? You know. Anyway, I'm pleasantly surprised, because they're a little bit more useful and enjoyable and beneficial than I was expecting when I started watching them and subscribed to your channel. But I don't want to. I don't want you to get a big ego about that. It's only a little bit, enough just for me to be kept interested, I suppose. Which is an annoying little thing. It's an annoying little thing that you've got, and that's another. I want to say that I dare you to fucking call me up on my. I'm calling you out, basically. I don't think you've got the guts and the balls to talk about someone, about the written word and the validity and the veracity of the written word. You'll talk about a load of other stuff that's of very little consequence, but it's only people who have the written word that are destroying the world. You know, this goes to the book of Revelations and stuff. It's the mark of the beast, because people have this idea. It's very entrenched and conditioned that the written word means knowledge and wisdom and stuff. And in fact, if that was true, then surely people with the written word wouldn't be responsible completely for a man-made mass extinction event, would they? Oh, look, there's a white elephant in the room. Oh, look. Oh, let me just move out the way, and let me just move out of this room quickly, so I haven't got to deal with this white elephant. Bye.